When you walk through a storm, it is Anfield Agenda time. Craig is set for the day and the news. Sit back and relax, grab a coffee and chill, and enjoy the shenanigans tonight. Anfield Agenda. Anfield Agenda. YNWA. Anfield Agenda. Time for Craig to tell it straight. Watch-alongs to fill your day. Make to subscribe and stay. Up the Reds, up the Reds. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh. Anfield Agenda. Anfield Agenda. YNWA. Anfield Agenda. Time for Craig to tell it straight. Watch-alongs to fill your day. Make to subscribe and stay. Up the Reds, up the Reds. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, 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 Anfield Agenda. Anfield Agenda. YNWA. Anfield Agenda.
What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. I hope that life is treating you well. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed our video earlier on with David Lynch, if you had a chance to watch it. Obviously, Samuel there in the chat didn't, because he's like, why is he saying this is nonsense? Nobody's denied the Trent stuff. Well, mate, I know everyone doesn't watch all of our content, but it has been denied because it is a lie. There is no agreement with Trent and Real Madrid. So that's what I'm here tonight to point out, you know. We're all for reporting the news and we're all for giving everybody the very latest, but there is no agreement for Trent to go to Madrid. It is just more Madrid bullshit, quite frankly. So we're going to call that out, because if there's a story, we will bring it to you, we will talk about it, but what we can't do is feed into the nonsense that's just trying to undermine Liverpool Football Club. So, Samuel, I get that not everybody sees every bit of content, bro, but I wouldn't be putting it up as nonsense. I wouldn't be here to talk about it if I didn't have a pretty good sense from my own contacts that it is just that, mate, nonsense. So look, we'll talk about it all tonight, though. Bricktop, how are you, dude? Welcome, and thank you for gifting a membership. Really appreciate that. So, I was starting to get ready for the stream, right? And I was coming on and I was doing my bits and pieces and I was flicking through all the Europa League, Europa Conference League games on the TV. And I thought, oh, United have gone 2-0 up. Well, there's no point in paying attention there. And then I come on here not 15 minutes later and I see the chat saying it's 2-2. And I thought someone's on a wind up there. So I looked on my phone just before I pressed live and I managed to go over to Porto, go 2-0 up and throw away a 2-0 lead. And as we see here, if I'm not mistaken, it's 2-2 right now. So, wow. I mean, new depths are being sunk into there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's not our problem. We're not really into Thursday night football this season. More Tuesday, Wednesday for us. It's mad. And even the goal, I seen Rasmus Højlund's goal tonight, and it was a mistake from the goalkeeper more than anything else, really, wasn't it? United have drawn 2-2 with Porto, said Scout Stewart. I mean, bring it on, bro. Bring it on. Continue the laugh fest, because every time I see Ten Hag speak, it just gets more and more deluded every time I listen to him. But do you know what? I'm really glad he's not our problem. And I'm really glad that our first world problems are will we go into the international break on another victory with another clean sheet, and hopefully so. And look, we'll talk about that tonight as well. I did record the preview for the Crystal Palace game. That's going to be coming out tomorrow, so I hope you guys get a chance to watch that one. But tonight, look, let's talk about Karim Adeyemi and some more links there to Liverpool. We're going to speak a little bit about Dario Osorio. We're going to talk about, obviously, my chat with David Lynch earlier on and what David had to say about the contract extensions and things like that. We're going to look into who's been nominated for the Player of the Month and Manager of the Month as well, with a little bit more on why Arne Slot loves Mo, but just not in the same way that he loves his wife, which is very understandable. I think if I was to do to any of those Liverpool players or express my love in the same way I do with my wife, well, quite frankly, we'd have some very disappointed Liverpool players. So, yeah, we'll talk about all of that, of course, as well. Kevin Doyle has been speaking, former Irish international, about not liking the body language of the substitutes that came off for Liverpool against Bologna. We'll talk about that, of course, as well. And I also recorded an episode of the podcast with Jack Gill tonight as well. So that's going to be coming out on podcast platforms tomorrow. If you are free and need something to do, please do give it a listen. So, leaking goals, Man United leaking goals. Yes, SG, and long may that continue, bro. Long may that continue. So look, Arne Slot, and just in case you didn't know, has been nominated for the September Premier League Manager of the Month award, which surely he has to be there or thereabouts with. You don't want the first one. You don't want the first Manager of the Month. That's that can cause you problems. You know, that has a history coming back to bite you. Other players who've been nominated for the Player of the Month, Luis Diaz and Ryan Gravenberch, both nominated for September's Player of the Month award. So well done to those two gents as well for being nominated. Right, a couple of super chats just came in while I was talking. So let me get Will's up first, and thank you, Will. Very kind of you, mate. Said, hi Craig, would you prefer to win the Premier League on its own this year or the Champions League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup together? So for me, Will, I'm probably different to the majority of our fan base. I would put the European Cup at the top of my wish list every single season. Now, of course, I wanted us to win the league title. That 30-year wait was too long. And it would be nice to go past Manchester United. But I think that's the biggest prestigious trophy for me, the European Cup. That's how this club is European royalty. So for me, I would take option B, European Cup, and the two domestic cups. But either one of those two scenarios that you've said there, Will, I think would give us a pretty good season. So I wouldn't say no to either of them, mate. But my preference would always be the European Cup. But that's just me. I think if I put that to the chat, most people would probably say the league title. Although, Will, you may have just given us our first poll of the night, mate. So let me get that together in a second. Andrew James as well. Thank you, mate, for your super chat. You didn't put in a comment, but I always like to recognise your generosity and bring it up on screen. So, Adam, lovely to see you again, my friend. Adam said, United are doing an Everton and below a 2-goal lead. For me personally, I would only accept Adeyemi if he can perform consistently all season. And I think that's fair. Look, Karim Adeyemi's a talent. We've known that since we were linked with him when he was at Salzburg. Got a hat-trick in the Champions League this week. And I think then he went off with an injury, a hamstring maybe, if I'm not mistaken. So he's certainly a talent. There's no denying that. But I'll move on to speak about Adeyemi just in a little moment. Before I do, though, I'm going to get this poll up before I forget. So I'm going to give you a preference. Now, I'm just going to go straight between Champions League and Premier League. So I'm going to ask, which one would you prefer? Okay, which one would you rather Liverpool win? Right, so options are obviously going to be Champions League or the Prem. I think it takes more consistency, by the way, to go and win a Premier League title. 38-game season. I think it's a better indication of your quality, but I don't know. I just love the European Cup. There's something about old big ears and those magical European nights. Okay, nearly have this written out. 1 second. So, where we go. Right, so Champions League, Premier League. Which one would you like Liverpool to win if you could only pick one? Stevie boy, how are you, my friend? Always lovely to see you dropping in from Aussie. So, he said, Craig, does Nunes suit Slot's style of football? And also, does the midfield create enough for our front half? So, on the first part of that, about Darwin We were speaking about this earlier on with both David Lynch and with Jack Gill. Still unsatisfied, or dissatisfied probably I should say, with what Darwin's doing this season. You know, we've not at all seen any silencing of the doubters or the critiquing that he's received so far. I think that number 9 spot is still open for somebody to make their own under Arne Slot. And truthfully, Stevie boy, I don't know if we trust either of them enough. You know, Diogo Jota is good in one way but has some deficiencies in another way. Darwin, of course, we know inconsistency is the biggest problem there. So I don't know if anybody's really nailed on yet. But the second part of your question, yes, I do think we're seeing more than enough creativity coming from midfield with regards to adding to our attacks. But of course, you know, we haven't yet really blown anybody away this season in the style that we'd like to see. You know, it'd be lovely to put somebody to the sword with a 5 or 6-0 victory, but it's very hard to be critical of too much when we are 9 games into Arne Slot's era and 8 victories with, I think, 5 clean sheets. So we can always do more, though. That's what I'd say, Stevie boy, mate. We can always do more. Will said, this year for me it's the Prem, Craig. Well, look, yes, I think stopping Man City, beating Arsenal to the title, it would certainly make a big statement. But I can't lie, if you said to me right now you can have one of the two, I'm always edging to the Champions League. You know, when I grew up and I look back at the big nights at Anfield and the things that made me fall in love, I'm seeing Crazy Horse, I'm seeing those guys lifting all big ears above their head. And I was even watching European Kings on LFC TV yesterday, and you know, looking at all of Liverpool's victories in the European Cup, and it's just special. It's just special. So maybe it's because in my lifetime I've seen Liverpool win more European Cups than I have league titles, which sounds mental, right? Because remember, I only started supporting Liverpool 89-90, so I've not really seen the success on the domestic front, but I've always seen us have a little taste of European success. But I understand exactly where you're coming from, Will. You know, most Liverpool fans, I think, would prefer the Premier League. You know, people, that whole thing about the Premier League being, or the league being the bread and butter, that's true as well. Even, you know, when you hear Guardiola speaking and stuff, he often says again, you can blag your way through a Champions League with a little bit of form or peaking at the right time, but you can't blag your way to a league title. You just can't do it. Have I ever watched Ted Lasso? I tried to, but I just couldn't get into it. It was just, I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. How funny would it be if Aston Villa win the Prem? Look, I'd much rather they win it, Rob, than Arsenal or Manchester City. You know, just being honest, I have nothing but respect for Aston Villa. Not that I don't have respect for Arsenal, but I do like the idea of them having to wait a bit longer for a league title. Another league title, I should say. If City are guilty, the Premier League titles have no credibility in my eyes. Well, look, I'm not even waiting for them to be guilty or not, Andrew. In my eyes, bro, they don't have any credibility. End of conversation. Nothing about Manchester City and the modern era has any credibility in my eyes, mate. And I won't give them their fair dues because I don't believe they're due it. Now, on the other hand, if Arsenal were to win the league this year, as much as it would hurt, I promise you I would give them their credit for the way that they've done it, the way that they've built the club back up. I would. I'd have no problem crediting them. I'm not a sore loser, but I am a sore loser where I feel like we're losing to a stacked deck. And that's how I feel about Manchester City. Right, I want to just go through the stuff with Karim Adeyemi really quickly. So, according to Bild, and look, saying that sentence first means take it with a massive pinch of salt. According to Bild, Liverpool has entered the poker game, whatever the fuck that means, for Karim Adeyemi. Liverpool has sent scouts to observe him several times in the Bundesliga and wants to get their hands on Adeyemi as the successor to Mohamed Salah. Liverpool are also said to be willing to pay a transfer fee in the region of €50 million for Adeyemi. So I've actually got no problem with the price tag in that conversation. I think if you decide and land on Adeyemi as being somebody you want to bring in, €50 million or about £42 million doesn't seem overly expensive, but I don't yet know that Liverpool are looking for a Mohamed Salah successor because, quite frankly, we don't know what the future holds with Mohamed Salah. And I guess that brings me back around to the conversation with David Lynch earlier on, where the stuff around Trent was reported today, and I'll read it out to you exactly as it was reported out there today so we can get a flavour of it. So apparently, according to sources, shall we say, with a massive pinch of salt, in Spain, Trent has rejected all proposals of a renewal with Liverpool Football Club, and Real Madrid have taken further steps to sign Trent with several contacts to see about the situation. I'm calling bullshit on that, and not just me. I don't think David Lynch believes it, and it doesn't even look like Romano believes it, because he's been saying still that he doesn't think there's been much interest or conversations with Real Madrid, and that Trent's priority remains to try and sort things with Liverpool. So I don't know where they get this shit from, but it also comes off the back of Real Madrid having a poor result in Europe, where, fans are starting to get a bit uppity about that. How can you have Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinny Jr. and all these players? I know Mbappe wasn't playing last night. I don't think he was. But how do you lose to Lille? So they're going to have to kind of gloss over that, I guess, with some positive PR, and that's exactly what I see this as. I don't believe anything that comes out of Spain unless it's somebody I know and trust. And this one I'm putting in the bullshit island category for me. And again, based off what I've spoken with David Lynch about, with my own understanding of the Trent situation, I'm certainly not sitting here saying it's nailed on, he's going to stay, but I absolutely don't believe there's any reason to go to the other extreme to say that he's made his mind up to go to Madrid. I think that's just a lie. Craig, is it true that Real Madrid have sent offers to Trent? I don't believe it. Of course they're going to be interested, Think of it this way. If you're Madrid and you're looking, maybe Carvajal has signed a little extension, I think, but if you're looking to the future and you could get Trent for free, why wouldn't you? So I absolutely understand Madrid's interest, but what I don't believe is that he's made his mind up or that Liverpool have given up. I don't think that's the case at all. Feels to me like if Trent, if Virgil and if Mo all got what they wanted, they'd stay at Liverpool. But what I can't say with any type of a conscience or clear conscience is what Liverpool's stance is. Now, one interesting thing I did take from my conversation with David earlier on was we were speaking about the 6-year offer that was doing the rounds on social media that maybe Liverpool are looking to tie Trent down with. And normally when I pitch these things to David, I'd get an answer something like, I've not heard anything from the club along those lines. And, very professional, as you would expect from somebody as good as David is. But he said something along the lines of, I wonder, was this perhaps a bit of a leak from the Liverpool side to show that their willingness and desire is to make Trent one of our highest paid players and to keep him at the club for his career, basically, giving him a 6-year deal. So that's got me a little bit excited, to be honest with you, because if it is the club starting to leak out a few little bits and pieces, at least it's shown that they're moving in the right direction with trying to get it sorted out. So, yeah, look, I can't tell you if Trent's had an offer from Liverpool, an offer from Real Madrid. I don't know that at the minute, but I certainly know that we shouldn't be giving up on the idea of Trent extending. I think that's way too early. Didn't Trent say he wants to captain Liverpool? Yep, he did. But he also said as well, which is fair, and I understand this from his point, that he wants the club to match his ambitions. He wants the club to want to win trophies. He wants legacy. Again, I understand it. You don't get to the point in your career where he is, where Mo is, where Virgil is, where Ali is, without having that desire to win. And winning means winning trophies. You look back in your career, you want to talk to your kids and grandkids about your European nights, your Champions League medals, your league titles. So yeah, if Trent feels the club can match that ambition on the pitch with the players they bring in, with the results, I don't see any reason why. The only reason he would leave is if he doesn't think that either the club value him enough or that the club are going to match that ambition he has to win trophies. Pablo said, big up Craig watching from Waterford. How are you? I had 2 Waterford Blas yesterday, mate. There you go. So they bacon roll, Waterford Blah. Perfect. By the way, for anybody watching, I should probably explain what a Waterford Blah is if you're not Irish. It's basically a soft roll with a bit of flour on top of it. Yeah, like a bap, basically. Antoango, how are you, bro? Always nice to see you in. I believe the Trent contract will be sorted and announced before the Champions League game against Real Madrid, said Gary Cuthbert. Gary, I really do hope you're right, bro. I do. So I have my own conversation piece that I want to bring to the conversation a bit later on, and that's more and more former goalkeepers talking about Ederson and Alisson and coming down on the side of Ederson. It pisses me off, quite frankly. I've seen Ben Foster say that he'd probably edge Ederson over Alisson, and now Peter Schmeichel, who's saying the same thing. And we're going to look into the underlying numbers a little bit tonight. There was a piece on the Echo which gave some of these numbers, and I'm going to read them out to you later and make the case of why I believe this isn't even a debate. I don't understand how Ederson and Alisson's name are in the same sentences. To me, it's clear which one's better, but I'm biased. So let's look at the underlying numbers and see how they feel. Can't lie, playing with Mbappe and Bellingham at the Bernabeu sure seems appealing. Yeah, it is, but would you ever feel as there? Mart would be my question, mate. You know, sure, going over there, seeing, you know, Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, it is appealing, no doubt about it. But would you ever really feel at home or comfortable or a sense of belonging there, or even be appreciated as much as you know you would be by the Liverpool fans? For a fella like Trent, I don't know if that's the case. As an example, well, Birmingham City or whatever were never going to be at the level, were they, that could have satisfied Jude Bellingham's endeavours or his desires in his career. But, you know, Trent's at Liverpool, a club that will realistically feel that we can challenge for the top honour. So I don't know if the same drive and passion would be there. And there's one more thing I don't think gets spoken about enough. Do you think that Real Madrid would still have an interest if Trent had 3 years to go and the cost was 100 million quid? I don't. I don't think they'd have any thought process in their mind to come near Trent if he wasn't available on a free. I think they're just looking for a cheap deal here. And if I'm Edward, I kind of be leaning into that as well, and Hughes in these contract negotiations. David said, sausage blah, Craig, with ketchup, you can't beat it. Or a bit of Chef Brown sauce, David. I do like a bit of Chef Brown sauce. Video's freezing on and off. It's not showing anything at my end, so I do apologise on that. Yeah, it's not. Usually I get a yellow warning light when it's lagging a bit. So I do apologise if people are getting a bit of a lag there. Obviously it's not great for anyone. I do have a guy coming out tomorrow to look at our broadband just to see if there is any bits and pieces we can do to improve the stability of it. CMCS said, do you think we can extend VVD, Salah and Trent's contract? I think it would be a lovely, pleasant surprise if we could do all three. I don't think we will, if I'm being really honest with you. I think we'll get 2 of the 3 done. I don't know which 2. I think Salah's the trickiest one to get done because of the amount of money that it would involve Liverpool, again, committing to over the next whatever amount of years. Virgil, I think, is straightforward. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff with regards to his form in the next 2 years or so. And Trent, it's a no-brainer. In fact, it's an insult that we're even in this position with Trent because he should have been tied down a while ago. Mason said, Alisson's always disrespected. Really? Yeah, look, I don't get it. Like, these conversations as well that have been coming up recently about Emi Martinez, David Raya, Alisson all been in the same category. I mean, really, just fuck off. Like, I don't get that. What? Emi Martinez is a decent keeper and he's certainly done well. He's won the World Cup, he's won the Copa America, he's doing well at Villa. But he's not in the same category as Alisson for me. I just don't even see how it's close. David Raya needs a bigger sample size. He's not even the number 1 for the Spanish national team yet. I just think people are either getting ahead of themselves too quickly or looking to undermine Alisson and Liverpool again. And the fairest I can be about it is there is not one goalkeeper on this planet that I would swap Alisson for tomorrow. Not one. And I don't say that lightly. You know, I love Courtois. He's a great goalkeeper. I appreciate Emi Martinez and I certainly acknowledge David Raya's improvements, but not for me. I wouldn't swap Alisson for any of them. Mo Salah 11 said, a question: how can we improve in the upcoming games, because we do things with possession, I don't know what that means, world class, but when we don't, keep the same level for like 10-15 minutes. I agree with you on the consistency. Even looking at last night's game and take that in isolation, I was saying sometimes during that first half that this is total football. It was a joy to watch. There was a 15-20 minute period last night where Liverpool were untouchable. But you're right, as the game went on, there were those moments where we allowed Bologna back into the game and we didn't look as assured, and certainly didn't kill the game off early enough. That's something I would like. Oh, lads, no fucking way. Oh. The reason I'm laughing is my beautiful chat has just informed me that it is now Porto 3, Manchester United 13th place in the Premier League 2. Go on the lettuce. Go on the lettuce. Oh, how do you go 2-0 up away from home against a decent Porto team and then just shit the bed? I mean, oh, see what I mean about saying if I was a Man United supporter, I'd be a millionaire right now with all the drama and nonsense that goes on there. I mean, I'm almost starting to feel sorry, you know. Oh. Oh, I know we shouldn't. I know we should be better than this, but I don't care. I'm a shithouse and I'm a petty person. Willie last the weekend, you know, they've got Villa coming up as well this weekend before the international break, and I would dare to say, if United don't get something out of that game tonight, and after bottling a 2-goal lead, and then didn't get the win against Villa, I think I'm putting my money on the lettuce. And do you know what? I'm trying to be fair here. Connor, I want you to clip this up because I'm trying to be fair. I've given Ten Hag a fair shout against the lettuce, and I'll tell you why. I haven't even put the lettuce in the fridge. That's how fair I'm being. I'm giving that lettuce a chance to decompose in the real world, in a real world setting. Not in a refrigerator where it can last a little bit longer. So I'm being as fair as I can be. I'm doing my part in this. It's up to Ten Hag though, to see if he can outlast that lettuce. And this was no posh lettuce. This was a little lettuce, you know. Yep, Mark's just sent me the scoreboard just to confirm that it is now Porto 3, Manchester United 13th place in the Premier League 2. Oh, how's Harvey? I like to think he's in the kitchen laughing about this scoreline, David. He's good, thank you, bro. He's good. We got him some new bougie ass dog food that came today, freezer pack, don't you know? So we're trying him on some of the fresher dog food just to see what he likes it or not. So shout out to Butterbean there, by the way, the company who make it. Want to see if what it's like, you know. Oh God, this is brilliant. Like, I don't care how quiet the stream is tonight. Just the idea of this United scoreline's making me smile. On that, I did ask David Lynch the questions that you guys would have liked me to ask regarding the likes of Jayden Danns. Looks like Jayden Danns is back running now, according to David Lynch, but not really ready to start playing just yet. Shouldn't be too far after this international break, in all honesty. So it looks like Jayden Danns is getting closer to fitness. And again, Harvey Elliott, again, we're hoping for the other side of the international break based off the few bits of information that are out there. So that's kind of where we're at with those two injury updates. What dog do I have? It's a French Bulldog, mate. A little French Bulldog. He's about, what is he now? September, October. He is 2 years and 2 months at this point. And yeah, he's a Frenchie and he's amazing. He's amazing, but he's a little fat mess as well. The smell of his farts, mate, when he lets them go, it's awful. But yeah, I love him. I couldn't imagine life without him. You know, I've had a dog. all of my life that I've had children. You know, we've had a dog. Our other dog passed away about a year ago now, unfortunately. So we have just the one now. Do you think Zubimendi is still possible in January? It's possible from the point of view of he hasn't signed a new deal, and they lost again today, by the way. They went 1-0 up at home in the Europa League and lost 2-1. So I don't know how long before he looks around at the situation at Sociedad and realises that they are not going in the right direction. And yeah, I don't know. It's still possible, but there's nothing to indicate he's changed his mind. In fact, he's made some comments to say that he's happy with the decision that he made. So I don't know. We do need to bring in a midfielder, though. We've been speaking with David earlier on. That was certainly something that we spoke about quite a bit throughout the course of the video. And nobody has a name. That's what I can say to you. I pitched Ederson to him, as in Atalanta's Ederson. He doesn't think it's the right stylistic profile to fit at Liverpool with the way Arne Slot wants to play. So certainly feels like there's an acknowledgement that we still need to go out there and bring in another midfielder. I think the biggest case I can make is if one of the three midfielders that are playing week in and week out for us was to pick up a knock, do we really feel like there's anybody that could come in and replicate their abilities for a 5 or 10 game stretch? And I think if we're being honest with ourselves, the answer is probably no. You know, we could hope that Curtis Jones would do it, but we haven't seen enough consistency from him. And with Elliott, I still don't know what Elliott looks like in a slot system, really, because we haven't seen too much of him yet. You know, I love Harvey Elliott as a player. I have every belief in his talent, but I don't know what he looks like in a slot system really yet. We haven't had a big enough sample size. Alfie, thank you, mate. Or Alf, excuse me, not Alfie. Alf, thank you, mate. Appreciate your super chat. And I'm doing good, thank you. I'm doing good. Today's one of the first days in a long time where my jaw hasn't been that sore. So, yeah, I'm quite happy about that I'm not having to take extra painkillers or anything. What type of pizza is my favourite? I'm a margarita fan, Andrew, just like yourself. In fact, I have a flatbread out there in the kitchen that I'm going to turn into a margarita pizza later on. I might go mad though, mate, and sprinkle a little bit of ham on there just to jazz it up a little bit. Where has Endo been? Like I said in the summer, and I know people don't like to hear it, but I can only be honest, he's not the right type of midfielder for Arne Slot. So I don't think we're going to see much of Wataru Endo, unfortunately. And it's through no fault of his own. You know, Endo's been really unlucky here. He came into play for Jurgen Klopp in a way that Jurgen Klopp needed a player to play in that way. But with Arne Slot, he's just been unlucky. It's a different role compared to the one he was brought in to play for Jurgen. Thank you, mate, for your super chat. You didn't put in a comment, but thank you nonetheless. Just wanted to bring it up on screen to say that thank you to you. Aït-Nouri, Adeyemi and Zubimendi to Liverpool, please. I mean, I would not be displeased, Cameron, about those signings, mate. I wouldn't. I'd take them. So, Fabrizio Romano has weighed in on the Trent Alexander-Arnold situation, and this is what Fabrizio has had to say. As of today, Real Madrid are not negotiating with Trent Alexander-Arnold. What happens in the summer depends on Liverpool. They're talking to Trent and will have more talks. Trent's priority remains Liverpool. So that's good news as far as I'm concerned. It certainly puts to bed the story that was out there earlier on to suggest that he was going to Madrid and his mind was made up. And also it was good to see David Lynch absolutely laugh pretty much at Gabby Agbonlahor's claim that Mohamed Salah had already committed to Saudi, that he was already going to be the highest paid player there, and that was a done deal. Again, nobody I've spoken to from a journalistic side or from a fan side believes Agbonlahor is doing anything but talking out his backside. Rachel, thank you for gifting a membership, Rachel. I hope you're feeling better, by the way, Rachel. I know you said you were feeling poorly yesterday and you weren't able to go to the game, so I hope you're feeling a bit better today. Did you see United's magic tonight? So I was just saying earlier, Dylan, when I was coming on to get ready to start the stream, I knew it was 2-0 to United because I was flicking through some of the games before I started. But then I came on and I was like, is it really 2-2? I'd seen somebody write it's 2-2 and then 3-2, and I thought you were messing until Mark sent me a screenshot. So there's no spin in this one. If they don't sort this out, or even if it ends a draw, I don't know how Ten Hag spins this one. It's another embarrassment for that Manchester United group of players and that manager. And there was a piece from Samuel Luckhurst, I believe, yesterday, who said that Diogo Dalot had also stopped speaking to Ken Lasso. So, is there anybody this lad isn't going to fall out with, or throw under a bus, or freeze out? It just feels like he just hasn't got a personality that is amenable to the players. It's he just always looks really cold and cranky and miserable, you know. Unlike Arne Slot, who's a very different character, of course, to Jurgen, but you can see he's very measured, calm and composed and very thoughtful in what he says and doesn't say. Ten Lasso just looks like he's out of his depth, quite frankly. Luis Diaz to City, yeah, not going to happen. Mate, not going to happen. Why would he want to go and play in the National League? It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would he go to City? So, I wanted to just speak about something Kevin Doyle said. Kevin Doyle, obviously former Irish international. He was speaking about an uneasy feeling he has around Liverpool. And he said the three subs that went off tonight, speaking last night, Szoboszlai, Robbo and Trent, and their reaction, he said they just looked unhappy. I want to get your thoughts on that, because I do, of course, have some concerns about Trent. You know, I think last night again he looked not angry, but there was a pause before he went off the pitch. I don't know, just something about his reaction to coming off again I wasn't impressed with. I don't remember Robertson's one, to be honest. I don't remember how he came off. Szoboszlai, yeah, I can see, again, a little bit of disappointment there, perhaps, but I think it was a case of the manager looking to protect the players and bring on players when the game was ready to be seen out. So, I don't know if Kevin Doyle's looking too much into that, but there is an air of something that just doesn't smell right at the minute, if I'm being really honest with you. I'm not saying people aren't impressed with Slot, or I'm not. It just feels to me like it's not going to take much for a bit of a crisis, whether that's a result or one bit of news about a contract. And I'm worried going into this October international break, because this is the time where you see more stories come out about players' futures, because they're away from their teammates, they're with their international colleagues. Journalists sometimes become a little bit emboldened with some of these stories as well. And I'm expecting some stuff to come out over this international break that we won't like reading. Whether there's truth to it or not, I guess that's another conversation. Fernandez is crying again. That's all he does, David. That's all he does. He's a lovely, tidy footballer, but he just pisses and moans the whole time. I want players who get subbed to look angry. I'd be pissed off or happy as Larry. Yeah, I mean, there's something to what you're saying. I understand completely what you're saying, but just get off the pitch is what I would say, mate. You know, I get what you're saying. You don't want a player to be happy to be dragged off the pitch, but, you know, understand why the manager's doing it. It's not to have a dig at your playing. It's to protect you because he rates you highly. That's the way I'd look at this, you know. I think Arne Slot took Trent off, one, to give Bradley a few minutes, but mostly to make sure he can manage the workload on Trent, on Dominic Szoboszlai and on Andy Robertson for what's going to be a really hectic season. And I think understanding this, you know, the players will know that. So I don't think there needs to be any real reaction to being substituted. Unless, of course, you know you're having a stinker and you're getting dragged off and you're frustrated because, one, you knew you were having a stinker, and two, you didn't get a chance to put that right. Toho said 600 million for performances like these weak deserves jail time. But mate, he's asked for patience. Patience. Yes, that's actually true. Ten Lasso has looked the camera in the eye and said, we need patience. Why? You spent 600 million quid, you little fraud, and you brought in a load of shitbags who don't deserve to put that shirt on. It's I don't get it. He's getting away with murder in my eyes, but, you know, if he was Liverpool manager, And I don't know how the United fan base is reacting because I don't really pay too much attention to it. But I promise you, if he was Liverpool's manager and we were in that position he's in, there's no fucking way I wouldn't be calling for his head. Not a chance. I don't care who it pisses off. I would be calling for his head because he is clueless. He is absolutely clueless. No identity to that Manchester United team after 3 years. No identity. Say what you want about Arteta. You can see an Arsenal team and a way of playing. You can see a City team and a way of playing. You can already see an Arne Slot team and a way of playing. Ange Postecoglou, very clear identity. Whether you think it's good or bad, you can understand what they're trying to do. I still don't understand what exactly an Eric Ten Hag's philosophy is on how to play the game. I don't get it. I don't understand what he's trying to do there other than waste money. Gabriel said, I don't want Supermendy at all. He rejected Liverpool and only now that he's in the mud he wants us. Well, no, he hasn't asked Liverpool to come and get him at all, mate. Let's be fair about it. I'm as upset as you, Gabriel, that he didn't make the move, mate. But once I calmed down a little bit, took a step back at it and looked at it and said, well, this is his hometown club. It's clearly a big upheaval for him and his family that he doesn't feel will be in the best interest of his family unit if he moved away. If it wasn't his hometown club and he didn't have these emotional attachments and he turned down the opportunity to come to Liverpool, then I'd agree with you. And I'd say he's just pissing away his career. But as humans and individuals, we're all built differently, right? And some players are happy to move abroad, try new things. But if you've got a young family and they're settled and, you know, you have a good quality of life where you're living, you know, football isn't the be-all and end-all to everybody as much as at times maybe we believe it is. So I think it's just about a balance for him. I hope he comes to the conclusion that he did make the wrong decision and he'd like to change his mind, but it is his career, I guess, at the end of the day. Craig, I love what you're doing, but it's a long season and, you know, 1 or 2 injuries. What do you think? Grant, mate, maybe I'm coming across wrong here, bro. I'm still pissed off over the transfer window. You know, look, I can't but be happy with what we've seen so far this season. It would be unfair of me to come on here and piss and moan with 8 wins out of 9. But don't make any mistake or don't take me up wrong. I am absolutely disgusted at the transfer market. Every bit of anger I felt in the summer about no centre-back and no central midfielder still applies. I'm just trying to channel it into a more structured way. There's no point in me coming on every day being negative and moaning and calling out the owners because it's not going to help us right now. When it comes time to get to December and January, the Where's the Money John videos are going to be coming out again, I promise you, and I'm never going to stop that, despite the fact that some Liverpool fans think it's wrong of me or embarrassing. It's how I feel, so I'm going to continue to call them out if I think that they're being cheap. But you know, I try to balance it out, is what I'm trying to say, because we should be happy with the start we've had under Arne Slot. You can always improve, and we will. But you are right, mate. That central midfield in particular, we're 1 injury away from potentially the wheels coming off. And that's worrying. And it's always going to be looming over us for the season. Benjamin, thank you, mate, for your super chat. So I saw the title, Craig, just popped in. What's the lies from Trent? No, it's nothing that Trent has done. Let me say that. The lies are about Trent, not from Trent. I'll explain to you now, mate. 1 second. So, just before I went to record earlier on with David Lynch, Connor sent me something from our own Twitter account or X account. And it was around Trent. And the story came in from Spain. And the story said that Trent has rejected all proposals of a new contract from Liverpool, and that Real Madrid have taken further steps to sign Trent with several contacts about the situation. So I asked David about this, and it's certainly news to him, and it was news to me, and it was news to anybody I've spoken to about it. So what we're saying is, stop lying, stop trying to stir the pot, Stop trying to get under Liverpool fans' skins. And don't believe anything that comes out from the Spanish side of this about Trent, is kind of what we're trying to say with that title tonight. And it was kind of good to see that Fabrizio Romano then posted later on to say, as of today, Real Madrid are not negotiating with Trent. What happens in the summer depends on Liverpool. They're talking to Trent, Liverpool, he said, and have more talks. Trent's priority remains Liverpool. So the Stop the Lies is about the story saying Trent's made up his mind. Because it's no accident to me that you see Gabby Agbonlahor, the gobshite that he is. And if you're watching Gabby, you are a gobshite, mate, and I will die on this hill. How you've stumbled into a job in punditry baffles me. But this story trying to lie, and it is lies, Gabby, let's be honest, you're lying. You don't know anything about his move to Saudi Arabia. If you did, you'd come out and tell us where you got the information from. But you're just trying to carve out a niche for yourself and be spoken about, which I guess is working, right, Gabby? But you're being spoken about because we all think, and I mean this sincerely, that you're an asshole who just lies to gain attention. Not hard to do that. I could come on here every day and say a lie after a lie. But my credibility would be shot and my career would go. But I guess if you're working for TalkSport, you just want clicks and you just want to drive traffic. So I would say stop lying, first and foremost, and stop believing all of these. I don't want to say journalists, because that's doing a disservice to actual journalists, but stop believing everyone trying to undermine Liverpool at every opportunity, whether it's the stories about Trent in Spain, whether it's the stories about Salah. Just wait and see what happens. And trust when you hear stories from an Ornstein, a Joyce, a David Lynch, a Fabrizio Romano maybe. As David said to me earlier on, and I'm kind of quoting him directly here, I don't remember Gabriel Bonlahor breaking many stories about Saudi Arabia. So, look, I just think he's full of it. I'm disgusted by him coming out and saying that, because I know he just doesn't like Liverpool and Liverpool fans, and I know he's just trying to wind us up. He's an asshole. I don't know what else to say. I don't like him. I don't like TalkSport. I don't like everything that TalkSport stands for. I don't like the way that they go after the lowest common denominator. I just don't like TalkSport one bit. I just don't. And they wind me up something fierce, they really do. United in the mud, said Irish legend. Honestly, for me, TalkSport just feels like it's set up to make people angry. That's all they do. If it's Simon Jordan spouting nonsense, or whether it's anybody, they're just baiting people. They're just driving anger, and it really, really annoys me. Do I think we should have sold Solanke? Yes. Sometimes with a player like Dominic Solanke, it's just about the right club at the right time for your attributes with the right manager. And I'm glad that it's worked out for Dominic Solanke. I mean, nothing against the guy whatsoever. He got a huge move there to Spurs as well, and I'm sure he's going to start repaying the transfer fee that was paid for him. But I don't want to look back at it and say it was wrong for Liverpool to sell him. I just don't think he was the right style of forward to the way we ever really wanted to play. And I think it's just the best thing for him that he moved on. And as I said, I wish him nothing but the best. Yanis. Is it Yanis? Yes. How are you, mate? Welcome in. Said, hello, Craig. Lots of love from Cyprus. Love your videos. We got a huge fan base here. Continue the great work. Thank you, my friend. I've been to a lot of areas around Cyprus, as in I've been to Greece, I've been to Italy, I've been to lots, but I've never been to Cyprus, so hopefully I'll get over there at some point. And thank you, mate, for your super chat, and thank you for your kind words as well. Really appreciate your support. Keith, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Look, you guys have been so lovely to me lately with some really likes, comments and stuff, and it means the world to me, so thank you for that. Right, let's check back in on our poll from earlier on. We said, which one of these would you prefer Liverpool to win? The Premier League or the Champions League? And so far, with about 840 odd votes, you guys are going 70% to say that you would prefer Liverpool to win the Premier League. Do you think Chelsea have started to click? Yes, I do. Someone said to me the other day, what do you think the top four is going to be? And it said Liverpool, Arsenal, City in some order. And then I think it'll be a battle between Aston Villa and Chelsea for fourth. And they definitely look like, at least from an attacking standpoint, they've got some firepower there at Chelsea. Cole Palmer, you don't need me to tell you how good he's been for them since he's gone there. So yeah, I do think they're getting there, but I do think they're still playing with fire a little bit, the way that they're trying to play out through the back lines, and there's still some mistakes in them there. So not sure if they're really ready to make that push towards challenging, but I think they'll be in and around the better European spots. Am I going to a Liverpool game anytime soon? I'm going to the Lille game in January in the Champions League. The second to last Champions League game. David said, no matter what Chelsea achieve, £1 billion is ridiculous. And also, David, I would add into that, mate, I'll never be convinced that hasn't somehow broken some rules or something. I think we've become desensitized to these amounts a little bit. £1 billion over the space of 18 months. £1 billion. It's madness. It really is just a shit ton of money. Like, I know football's become big business, but never allow yourself be desensitized to £1 billion being spent. £1 billion. Andrew said, watching Porto tonight, I really want us to sign Varela. He's ace. When Zubimendi rejected, we should have signed Varela. Such a great player. Can't believe Liverpool didn't sign him as a backup plan. There was certainly some links at the latter part of the transfer window, if you remember. I think it was the very last day. We were all tracking a plane that was going into Porto and that. He's been a player we've been linked with in the past, but never really seen anything concrete to say that we're going to follow on with that interest. So, bit of a stat from Opta Joe that Mark sent on to me. Thank you, Mark. 24. Since Erik ten Hag joined the club in 2022, no Premier League club has conceded 3 or more goals in a match more times in all competitions than Manchester United, who have conceded 3 goals or more 24 different times. 24. He is out of his depth. He just is. So, I did say I wanted to have a little chat about the Alisson-Ederson debate. Reading something earlier on from Peter Schmeichel saying that he again would go with Ederson as slightly better all-rounded keeper than Alisson. And I very much disagree with that stance. But then again, I ask myself, is that because I'm biased, I'm a Liverpool fan? Or is it my real, genuine view? And I think it's my real, genuine view. But then the Echo did a piece with some underlying numbers. And I'm going to read you through a little bit of what they've written. Articles there for yourself if you want to have a chance to go and read it. It said, but when the numbers in this season after Liverpool's 2020 Premier League triumph are compared, most of the metrics used by Peter Schmeichel are a lot closer than made out or simply falsifiable. He said, indeed, Alisson has made more errors leading to goals, but only 10-8, so 2 more than Ederson. And the suggestions that the Liverpool number 1 struggle with the ball at his feet are inaccurate. Alisson has completed 86.3% of his passes, which is only 0.3% worse than Ederson. So not much in them whatsoever in the amount of those passes that are reaching their intended target. So 86.3%. It says, furthermore, Alisson has attempted at least 500 more passes than Ederson, and number count wise has completed more. So again, we can kind of put to bed this idea that Ederson's so much better with the ball at his feet than Alisson. The piece goes on to say, and as a consequence, data collection analysts FB.ref say that Alisson has a plus minus 20 XG, or in other words, that he should have let in 20 more goals than he actually has. Ederson's rating, 0. So according to FB.ref, Ederson has let in exactly the amount of goals he was supposed to, no more than he should have, no less than he should have. Whereas Alisson has basically stopped 20 goals that Liverpool should have conceded. I don't understand how these goalkeepers, Ben Foster, Peter Schmeichel, are coming to the conclusion that Ederson's better. It just doesn't pass the smell test for me. Alisson's a better goalkeeper. Brazil international who plays more games for them since he's become a Brazilian international. Every metric I can see, I'm going for our boy. That's my take on it. I think he's way better. Giannis, how are you, my man? Said, I have a feeling this season is going to be a special one with Arne Slot. We've got a long way to go, and the best place to visit Cyprus is Ayia Napa and Paralimni. Obviously, I know about Ayia Napa, but I didn't know about the second part, mate. Look, there's a long way to go this season, and we haven't really faced too many big tests as of yet. But Arne Slot's the first manager in Liverpool history to win 8 of his first 9 games. You know, if we had played Forest and played well, that could have been 9 from 9 right now. But there are bigger tests to come over the next 2 months especially, so let's wait and see. Why aren't we hate watching United and Porto? It's a bit low of a level of football, isn't it? You know, for us Liverpool fans to be bothering ourselves with, mate. You know, Thursday nights, we had a little taste of it last year. Didn't quite suit the palate, so I'll stick to the Tuesday, Wednesday stuff. Because Ederson gets an assist every season. I would say Alisson's had some assists as well, mate. I remember plenty of balls Alisson's played over the top to Mohamed Salah that has ended up in chances or goals. And also, as our friend there, Nathan, has pointed out, I don't remember Ederson scoring a header. I remember Alisson strolling up against West Brom, bang, header, top beans, done. Oh, Bruno's got sent off. Oh, lads, this has just gotten better. Bruno got sent off. So he got sent off and got away with it in the league game. Got it rescinded. Now he's gotten himself sent off again. Captain, though. Captain material. Go on, Bruno. Go on. Whitehammer said, Craig, you're missing this United game. Look at the subs. I don't know what to say, mate, you know. I'll watch the highlights of it back later on, but I'd be a liar, dude, if I said I'm not sitting here smirking at the news I'm getting through from the chat about the result. How long is left in that one, by the way, for Ten Lasso to get closer and closer to the sack? Back-to-back red cards, yep. And he got away with one of them, mate, because the red card that he got in the league was overturned. So he's going to be available for United this weekend against Villa. Now, I'll let United fans decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Nine minutes of normal time left. Thank you, mate. Thank you. And like, he has to get the sack. You know, I know it's going to cost United about £17 million to sack him, but how can you keep that man in charge? You know, go over there, get a great start in that game, race into a 2-goal lead, get pegged back, losing 3-2, and once again, Fernandes manages to get himself sent off. And why was he sent off? Was it 2 yellows? Or was he crying, moaning, bitching, whinging? Was it a dirty tackle? Do you think it was a mistake to put Bajcetic on loan? No, it was, in my opinion anyway, it was exactly the right thing to do. Because the most important thing for Stefan was to go out there and get minutes. And I don't think he would have been guaranteed that opportunity at Liverpool. So he's over there, he's playing in the Champions League with Salzburg. He's working with a coach that knows him well. And I think it was the right thing to do, just to make sure he gets those minutes. Because it's really important in his development that he can, one, show physically that he can go through a season playing week in and week out. So yeah, I think it was the right decision. But I'm sure it was a tough one as well, because he's a quality young player. Right, so Whitehammer said, sub 2 centre-backs on for 2 centre-backs when losing. That's special, Whitehammer, isn't it? I know, lads, we're losing. Don't worry, Eric's got this. Bring on the centre-backs! But Gaffer, we're losing. Bring on the centre-backs! Don't you dare question the gospel according to Eric. Brilliant. Brilliant. Losing the game. That's special. What did they lose the first Europa League game or draw it? I can't remember. I think they drew at home, actually, if I remember correctly. So they're going to have 1 point from a possible 6 in the bleeding Europa League. Nice. I see they found their level. You know, they'll be around the same league position as well. What are they, 13th in the Premier League? Oh no, they definitely didn't win, Lisa. They definitely didn't win their first game. I have recollections of it being 1-1 or something, but I can't remember. They drew at FC Twente. That was it. It was FC Twente they drew with. Ten Hag's former club. There you go. Brilliant. Brilliant. Long may it continue. Long may it continue. So, another story that's come out is that Liverpool have been linked with Dario Osorio yet again. Player who plays for Midtjylland, a wide player. I think he's a right winger that uses his left foot. And Liverpool apparently submitted an offer in the summer of €10 million to Midtjylland for Dario Osorio, at least according to this report. But, of course, I don't know if that's true or not. But he's a player that Liverpool have been linked to for a little while now. But I think this will probably be again if indeed we were to lose Mohamed Salah. How's the lettuce doing? Better than Ten Hag. And I've tried to be fair, Carson, as I said earlier, or Carlson, excuse me, as I said earlier on, Carson. As I said earlier on, I haven't even put the lettuce in the fridge. I can't be any fairer than that. You know, I'm letting the lettuce, like Ten Hag, be out in the real world. You know, no protected environment, safely tucked away inside the fridge. No, out there on the counter. And I'm still back in the lettuce. I've got more faith in the structure of that lettuce than I do with Ten Hag's structure. Ten Hag has given up and just wants the money. 17 million quid. For me, the truth was there when they gave him an extension in the summer. Because it wasn't an extension. They gave him 1 year. That's not an extension. That's just paying lip service to him. And I going into this season, I always felt like it was a case of when and not if he was going to get sacked. And I think anybody who, like Gary Neville, was deluding themselves into thinking United were going to be in and around the top end of the league table, fighting for those Champions League spots, is just that, you know, overly optimistic or deluded. I'll let you decide which one. LFC community. Our favourite 4 words, mate. Our favourite 4 words. United in the mud. United in the mud. Do you know what else was in the mud? The lettuce was once upon a time in the mud. But don't you worry, that lettuce, unlike Ten Hag, is able to get out of the mud and clean itself off. Shamrock Rovers won, Apoel Nicosia won. I think Nicosia had taken the lead mark just before I came on. I had that game on just before. I'd actually seen that they'd put the new, I think it's the new north or south stand in Tala Stadium where Shamrock Rovers play, meaning it has a capacity of 10,500 now. So, yeah, well done Rovers if they get that result. 1-1, not too shabby. Betting closed on the lettuce. You're right, Martin. You know, there's no point in taking any more money on it. Everyone's going for the lettuce. There he is. Bruno Fernandes is sent off for a second yellow card following this challenge from bad to worse for Man United. Oh dear, what a pity. Never mind. Can't stop the mud when leaks saturate the pitch, just saying. Yeah, well, the leads come in the stand and everything there, mate. You know, you could grow watercress and everything in the main stand there at Old Trafford. It's brilliant. They don't get enough credit for what they're doing for the environment there. You know, recycling that rainwater straight back into the stadium. They deserve credit for that. You know, I'm sure Greta Thunberg's going to pay a little visit to Old Trafford, have a little look around and go, I love what I'm seeing here. You know, free-flowing water being recycled, plenty of space out there to run around on the green grass for the opposition players to come and do what they want. You know, don't eat the chicken. That's one thing I'd say to you, Greta. If you do go there, I'm not sure if you're vegan or anything, Greta, but don't eat the chicken is what I'd say if you go to Old Trafford. You know, it's known for being a little bit raw. Is there any United players you would take in our starting 11? No. I would take some for the squad. You know, I'd be sitting here, and if I didn't say Kobe Mainoo had immense talent, I'd be a liar. He is a very tidy footballer with a great future ahead of him if he can get away from United. He must be looking around going, oh shit, I burst through on the scene, but look around me. So him I would take. Kind of struggling after that, in all honesty. Nimnoy said, I might be too dumb to understand, but can someone explain to me, what does Joshua Zirkzee do? He's enthusiastic. Let's say that. I don't know what else to say after that, mate. I wasn't sure of that signing when they did it either. Hoyland, I actually, I'll stand over Hoyland. I think he will come good. I think Hoyland is a decent player. It feels to me like Ruud van Nistelrooy is already getting his feet under the table there and liking the idea of becoming United's manager. But, fingers crossed that Gareth Southgate still has an opportunity to go in there and Southgateify United. What manager would want the United job? Look, I guess there's a few ways to look at that. United, like Liverpool, are always going to hold an attraction because they are a big club. But you certainly would be careful if you were going in looking at that. Oh, they've scored 3-3. They've managed to get a draw. They've managed to pull it back to 3-3. There you go. So 2 draws in the Europa League now. All is good now. All is good. Whoop whoop. 3-3. Yay. Yeah, you look around and go, do I really want this headache of going into United? Do I believe that everything is going to be put in place for me to actually be a success? I don't know. It feels like they're in this vicious circle at the minute that nobody's quite able to solve the puzzle of. Maguire, world's most expensive defender out there, showing what he's capable of in the Europa League. World's most expensive defender. How long is left in that one, by the way? To be honest, whereas they could have scored, keeps Ten Hag in. Look, he's still swimming against the tide there, in my opinion, and Villa can finish them off this weekend. We need Ten Hag to get the odd result to give the false hope. Look, if whatever way they dress this up, 2-0 up to going 3-2 behind is still a capitulation, even if they scrape a 3-3 draw. Nobody's going to be convinced that that equaliser is going to do anything other than buy him a little bit more time, which I'm not against. But yeah, he's about to get the boot. There's no way he's turning this around. Coach Bill said Villa will decimate United. They certainly look like they've got the firepower to cause that United defence trouble between Duran and Watkins, both having a good season. United can keep the Europa. Well, look, that will only be 2 points from 6 for them in the Europa League. So not exactly setting the world alight there. It already feels like the best they're going to get in the Europa League is a playoff. So 2 more games for them to get to the round of 16. Grand. United match stopped working, so didn't see Maguire's goal, said David. Villa will be trouble for any team this season. They look good. They're a very well coached team. No denying that. Like, credit to Unai Emery and the Villa board for what they're doing. United are now 20th in the Europa League. So just about inside the playoff places there in the Europa League. So 3-3 there with a couple of minutes left in that one. Still though, it's still a capitulation. Whichever way you look at it, it's just desperation stakes to just throw the ball up the slab head and hope for the best. There's no rhyme or reason to what Ten Hag's doing. And look, if this buys him a little bit more time, so be it, because they're 13th in the Premier League and 20th in the Europa League group. That speaks volumes. And as we said earlier on as well, staff from Opta Joe to say that no other team has conceded 3 goals or more as many as Ten Hag. 24. Now, 24 times they've conceded 3 or more goals. Bruno got another red. Yeah, second yellow. Macker apparently tonight, mate. Second yellow on that one. Chris That Music said, Craig, come on now. Eric has him sorted. You have to stick to the plan. I just don't know what his plan is. In all honesty, I don't look at that United team and see a plan. But, you know, long may it continue. Chris, long may it continue, mate. And thank you for the super chat, bro. Appreciate it. So, finishes over there at the Estadio Dragao, 3-3. Well done. Well done, Eric. You managed to not lose. Well done, mate. That's brilliant. Bruno wearing a trilby. There's his hat-trick. He's I can't believe he's United's captain, by the way. There's nothing about that lad that screams captain material at all. Unless it's for the whingy FC crying, moaning, bitchiness. Blah, 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 blah. Bruno has a chance to make history and get 3 red cards in consecutive games. Yeah, you know. And I wouldn't rule it out either, mate. You know, he got the last one overturned, but still. Connor said Ten Hag is gone. Sooner or later, yes, he is gone. This might buy him a little bit of time, but there's no way that it's getting turned around there. It's not just about United changing the managers, that there has to be great unrest amongst the hierarchy. But they've just brought in a whole new structure there, though. You know, they've brought in Ashworth, they've brought in Omar, whatever the guy's name is that was at Manchester Sparada, I think his name is, that was at Manchester City. So they have built that structure out. They're just not getting the results from it. Porto attackers got greedy. Look, it's still shambolic to go 2-0 up and then end up scraping a 3-3 draw at the end of it. Come on, Ten Hag is misunderstood. No, he is, to be fair. Some people misunderstand him for a fucking manager that has a clue, but I'm not one of those people, thankfully. United fans are celebrating because they drew to Porto. Let them. You know, if they want to keep celebrating and backing their manager, then more power to them. But yeah, I'm glad we're not in their shoes. Let's just put it that way. It's great to see our manager come in. A new manager, inherited a good squad from Jurgen and has had 8 wins from 9 games. There's one more stat I actually wanted to read out. Where was it gone? Where was this one? I swear Connor sent this to me. Or was it in here? 1 second. Somebody sent me something earlier on with a load of stats. Where was it? Sorry, I'm reading through something here. Connor sent me something earlier, I swear, with loads of stats. Nope, I must be imagining it. I must have seen it on Discord or something. It was the amount of yellow, or the amount of clean sheets that we've had already this season. Where did I swear I seen that before I came on here? Maybe it was in our podcast group, actually. Maybe he stuck it in there. What's the Trent thing? Just tuned in. So the Trent thing is stop lying, saying that he's agreed to go to Madrid. Stop lying and saying that he's turned down contract offers from Liverpool. There was a report earlier on from Spain that said Trent has rejected all proposals of a renewal with Liverpool. Real Madrid have taken further steps to sign Trent, with several contacts being made about the situation, which is absolute poo-poo of the highest order. And that's what tonight's title was about. Stop the lies, because they are just that, lies. And whether you want to believe me or David Lynch or anybody else, Romano even came out and said, as of today, Real Madrid are not negotiating with Trent Alexander-Arnold. What happens in the summer depends on Liverpool. They're talking to Trent and will have more talks. Trent's priority remains Liverpool. So that's where we're at with Trent. This story of him agreeing to go to Madrid is just nonsense. Toby said, Spanish media really can't be taken serious. I agree, mate. They're always doing clubs bidding for them and full of it, basically. They celebrate the draw after they've bottled it. I know, but that's where they fall into. That's the level United fans have fallen to, unfortunately, for them. Why doesn't he sign a contract then? You can't sign what hasn't been put in front of you. Don't know how else to say it, Baz, other than that. He can't sign an extension that hasn't been put down on the table from the sign, can he? And that's the problem we have as Liverpool fans, is what on earth are our club doing in this situation? You know, Trent should have been more than tied up at this point. So I'm just trying to protect Trent from being vilified for nothing, because he hasn't done anything. We've already heard from all of these guys that the club haven't given them contract offers yet. So they can't sign what isn't there. That's my point on all of this, you know. If Trent was offered a deal and said no to it, that's a different conversation. But there's been no confirmation of the club having put across an offer to him yet. Now, we want that offer to come and we're nervous about it, but let's not start getting on the kid's back because he hasn't done anything. History said, I'm glad United equalised. It'll keep Ten Lasso there for a while longer, which is great. I think this weekend, that game against Villa could be the one that's bye-bye Ten Hag. If Villa beat them, I think it's I think he'll be done over the international break. Nimnoy said, Klopp during his reign at Liverpool has had a net spend of around 346 million, and Ten Hag has a net spend of 333 million after joining in 2022. And also I would add to that the success stories of Jurgen's transfer spend versus Ten Lasso's. Am I watching Bivol, or I'm watching the Ball versus Rios fight on Saturday? Yes, Tony, I will. I'm a big fan of Nick Ball. I think he's a really, really good fighter. Really easy to watch as well. Baz said, if he goes on a free, it'll be the biggest mistake the club ever made. I agree, Baz. It would be... It's almost unthinkable, mate, isn't it? To think that we could lose... Like, if you lose Trent to Real Madrid for 100 million, Baz, that's another conversation, isn't it? But losing them for free, it would have to go down as one of the most idiotic circumstances that the club allowed to develop. And that's why I was so angry and so vocal, saying, what is going on? How have we allowed this situation to come to fruition with Trent? It's madness. Gio said, please don't talk about Joe Club like United. Oh, no, mate. You're looking at this all wrong. We're not talking about them. We're laughing at them. So you're right about the Joe Club part of the minute, but we're laughing at them, bro. We're not in here trying to big them up or talk about their chances of success. We are pissing ourselves laughing at them. My United friends started celebrating the draw like they won the match. Europa League, 2-0 up, they draw 3-3, and they're happy. Tells you everything, I think, doesn't it? Tells you everything about where they've gotten to. Domino's Pizza have just said free pizza to Harry Maguire for saving Ten Hag's job. Not even joking, that's a genuine tweet. Genuinely, Mark sent that on to me. That's a real tweet. Ten Hag was pulled for speeding at Old Trafford. At least he got 3 points. The only way he's getting them, Dave. The only way he's getting them. So, I'm going to finish up this poll that we asked earlier on. Which one of these would you rather Liverpool win? The Premier League or the Champions League? And 71% of you guys have said you would prefer to see Liverpool win the league title than the Champions League. I would be in the Champions League camp because, as I said, I just love the European Cup. But if you win either of those, it's a good season. The Greater Gatsby said, Craig, United are the most successful team after Man City. I know, fact, mate. We can't argue with it. It doesn't matter that there are many, many other stats that will absolutely show Ted Lasso up for being a fraud. He just has that one thing to go back to, doesn't he? But I've won 2 domestic cups. Yeah, but you're 13th in the league, mate. You're fucking 13th in the Premier League already after getting all the players you wanted this summer. Which would you rather? Champions League for me, mate. Just love the European Cup. You know, something sexy about seeing big ears raised above Liverpool captain's head. But I wouldn't say no to another league title either. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate you. Always great to have people like yourself in, mate, who are here for a bit of a laugh and to let their hair down. You got a YouTube advert for broccoli during my stream? Oh, come on now. Come on now, YouTube. Come on, Google. Who's putting broccoli ads during my stream? That's shocking. Shocking. There will be a strongly worded letter. Only would choose the league to have the same amount as United, but number 7 would be my choice at Brett Young. Look, I get what people say about the league title. It is your bread and butter, and to be top of the pile after a 38-game season, it does speak to consistency, and it certainly does show that you're the best in your own country. You can win a European Cup by, not playing at your best all the time. So, again, I think it's just a case of what you like. I think if we end up with one of those trophies any year, you're not going to be unhappy. Leo, how are you, mate? From Nicaragua. Nice to see you in. Welcome. Cringy seeing Steve McManaman talking about Trent's contract during last night's game when he shafted us and signed a 5-year deal at Madrid. Yeah. I mean, I didn't listen to Steve McManaman last night because obviously I was doing the watch along here, so I don't know what he said, but all I can say is I want the club to give Trent a new deal. We all want Trent to stay. And anything other than that is going to feel like a huge kick in the balls. What else we got? We need more greens, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, wink. Oh, don't worry, Christoph. I will be practicing my herbal infusion in about an hour's time, mate. In about an hour's time. Gonna go out and make myself a flatbread pizza for dinner. And then, yes, I will be doing my bit for the green technology. So, ladies and gents, a couple of bits and pieces. Tomorrow we'll be live at 8:45, as always. The preview is going to come out tomorrow morning. A couple of things that came out today I'd love to draw your attention to. Our latest chat with David Lynch is up there as a video and as a podcast episode. So, whatever your preferred choice is, we'd love you to check that out. Did chat with Jack Gill as well, and that's going to be coming out tomorrow on the podcast platform. So, make sure, wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Acast, make sure that you search out Anfield Agenda on there, give it a listen and let us know your thoughts. David, thank you, mate, for ending the stream on a high with us as well. Said, watching United in the Europa League struggling and us flying under slot gets better and better. We'll never get old. I agree. One Dutch manager has come in and shown what he's all about, and the other Dutch manager is named Erik ten Hag. So, yes, mate, I agree with you. It'll never get old. Them trying to justify that capitulation and scraping a draw as a win. If that's keeping them happy, mate, then leave them to it. RS said, Sobo good. We spoke about Dominic Szoboszlai actually in that video with David Lynch, mate. We had a good chat about him. Still feel like he's doing well, but there's another gear or two I think Szoboszlai can go through, because we know what he's capable of. You know, you're never going to question the man's work rate, his effort, his pressing, his technical ability, but you do want a little bit more end product from him, and hopefully we see that over the course of the season. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of you have only just come across after the game, but I'm going to call it a night and go and grab some food and whatnot. So I will see you tomorrow at 8:45, and don't forget, I'm away for a week from Sunday, so Saturday is going to be our last day of live streaming for another week or so. So hope to see you tomorrow, hope to see you for the watch along, of course, on Saturday morning from 11:30. And don't forget, if you want to come and see us in Liverpool, you can get your tickets to our live show either with the link at the top of the chat or in the description of this stream. And we appreciate all your support as always. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the stream as well, and I'll see you tomorrow.